Welcome to the Restaurants Grow podcast, where you get tips, tricks, and tactics on how to grow your restaurant business. Today on the show, we have Erin Levzow and Tammy Billings, co-founders and hosts of the Byte-Sized and Bossy podcast, a no-holds-barred, female-led podcast featuring women from all levels of the restaurant industry, alongside their male allies. I've not been on the show yet, but I'm hoping one day, sharing their experiences in a fun and relatable way. It's a funny show, it's real, and it's informative. Tammy, who has kicked off her restaurant career biz at LA Live. If you guys know that, it's an entertainment district in downtown LA with 14 restaurants, or at one point it had 14. She has since gone on to head the marketing for several hospitality businesses and consulted with many of your favorite restaurant data and analytic companies. Tammy is the co-founder of Worth, which is the Women of Restaurants, Technology, and Hospitality. It's a really cool group to be a part of, and is passionate about supporting women's issues in the restaurant industry. Erin, on the other hand, is an industry veteran also, who has headed up marketing for the Museum of Ice Cream, Del Taco, Marcus Hotels and Resorts, Freebird's World Burrito, and a whole lot more. Erin's a public speaker. She's an incredible share of ideas and a marketing consultant. I'm excited to have both of them on the show today, as not only do I consider them incredible thought and energy leaders, but also incredible friends and colleagues. Fun facts. Tammy has hyperextensions in both knees and used to be a karaoke hostess, and Erin is a competitive ballroom dancer. Tammy and Erin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Wow, what a
Amen. I'm excited you guys are here today, and that's an awesome hat, Tammy. God bless.
Well, okay. I wore this just for you, Rev.
Amen. I wore this just for you. So if you want to scan my QR codes, it'll take you right to my Instagram account. So there you go. This is what happens when I spend too much time alone. Okay, I want to kick this off right with a question. Either of you can take it, but I'd love for you both to answer it. What is the best area for a restaurant to focus on in 2025 if growth is the goal?
Ooh.
Data.
Yeah. I was like, what kind of growth? Growth. Check growth. Like,
I mean, no matter what, it's how do you talk to your consumer and your customer? And in order to do that, you have to be able to pull the data together. And right now, as much as everybody talks about it, almost every restaurant I talk to still has fragmented data. And so being able to come back to we went through years of deterministic and probabilistic. It's clearly early, right? Data being paired together. But now you can actually see the full view of your customer. And that comes with tech consolidation. And that's where we're seeing a lot of that happen. And being able to actually tie these pieces together one way or another and say, we know that this is Joe and we know where Joe is at all times. And Joe wants that too. And Joe, we know that you know that we know what we know so that you can order things better, easier, faster, and that grows your business.
Okay, so if you want me to answer too, I'm going to piggyback on that and would say data is by far the most important thing. And I think, how to get to it and what to do with it. There's lots of CDPs out there, some industry specific ones. We could give some shout outs. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that on the show.
You can say anything that isn't negative or a curse word.
Oh, I'm not allowed to curse.
You can't curse. I didn't feel like that was a rule. We didn't establish that up front, but I haven't yet. So
it's in my writers.
Right, but this is it's like when my 8-year-old wants to make toilet jokes and he defaults to like those words, and I'm like, you know what? It's so much more fun to be creative with words than to use those words. So
what I heard in there, Rev, was that I can't have potty jokes either.
They're kind of the same thing, anyway. But you can name any technology company you love or want to talk about.
No worries. I just think a CDP is a good way to get your hands on consumer data. And, if we're talking about data, just to make things a little bit more complicated, not all data is created equal. So it is really important to have people that understand data. Our industry isn't exactly the most forward thinking when it comes to these kinds of things like data and technology, and we're light years behind these other industries. So there's some really cool tech out there. I mean, I would give my own company a shameless plug in Signal Flare AI, and being able to compose multiple data sources to be able to help restaurants really understand who their customers are and how they're behaving.
Okay, I want to break this down. So I actually think data is kind of worthless.
What?
Amen. We're like death by data. I got data in so many places. I have so much
dashboard hell.
Yeah, amen. You know what I'm into? Insights. Okay.
Fair.
And here's what I'm actually into. And I feel like this is not coming to me from anybody. I can get data from any single place I have a login. I got data. I got more data than I will ever use. I also have really lame ass insights, and I just cursed. What I want is for my vendors to tell me what to do with my data.
Yes.
Right.
And until I think that operators are gonna remain in this sort of like stagnant, not super active on what to do with all of this data, until vendors are like, do this thing now. And I keep saying that, and I don't know why it's not happening, but like, hello, vendors, tell me what to do with my data.
Well, I'll tell you what to do with your data.
Please.
You need to pull it all together in one place for starters to derive those insights. And then part of what we're doing is essentially putting them into decision models, meaning help me decide what to do. So as an example, we help restaurants with pricing. We have a simulator that can literally simulate the probability, millions of probabilities, in the moment. And imagine being able to put in a price for this tier, that tier, this item in that store, and being able to see what's going to happen to your traffic loss and your sales loss by making that increase. So I can tell you what's likely to happen. I cannot tell you your level of risk. Like, how much are you willing to risk?
I mean, okay, so I don't want to make this about any one particular piece of technology, but like, I don't know. And that's part of the problem, right? I have a single unit restaurant. We are tech drunk, right? And I work with Salad House, and we have 20 locations, and we have slightly more tech than my single unit. And I sit around half the time going, what do I do with all this data? Now, I'm a relatively intelligent person. I ask good questions. I have friends like you that give me lots of clues, but like, I feel all the time like, I really don't, I just sit in front of it and I'm like, where do I start? You know what I mean?
Well, I would argue that it is harder for independent restaurants and smaller chains. They don't have the budget. They don't have the teams. In fact, I don't really work with independent restaurants, so I would struggle to help you there.
Amen.
Yeah. Next question.
Listen, I'm just saying, like, I think data is cool, but I think insights are the bomb. And what I actually want is, as a marketer, I want to be told what to do next. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think he likes to be bossed around, is what I just heard.
I'm definitely not bite-sized, but I might be able to be bossied. Okay. We kind of segued into this next question I wanted to ask naturally, but likewise, what is one thing that vendors can do to improve awareness when they're participating at trade shows? We have both audiences on the show. We have restaurants and vendors. I'm a vendor. I'm going to a trade show. What's one thing I can do to improve my awareness?
Erin, you want to tell them what we did last year at RLC?
Hold on, I have to think back to what we did last year at RLC.
I think to get some attention to help you find a job. Yeah.
Yes. So last year when I was with Tammy and looking for the next opportunity, she was great about introducing me to lots of people and engaging me. And she'd walk up, and I'm a big believer. And this is the same way I talk about, like, when I tell someone, hey, I use this because it's really cool and awesome, whether it's a mascara or something for marketing, it's better for me to talk about it than if someone talks about themselves. And so Tammy was really great and an amazing friend and talked about me. But I think
Just
also
like this is Erin. She's a rock star CMO. Will you hire her? Do you know of any jobs that are open? And I think that's how we started every conversation. And then I was like, hi, I'm Tammy.
Yeah. So I introduced her, she introduced me, but it was really great because, I mean, no matter what, it's always great to have a wingman so you don't feel alone walking into these conferences. But I also think from the brand side, when you go in and I'm meeting all of these partners or potential partners, vendors, and to be clear, like, I don't want my vendor to be a vendor. I want them to be a partner. I want to feel like they have a stake in the game too. But build the relationship first. I hate when I walk up and someone's like, have you heard of us? Do you want me to tell you everything about me right now? And I'm like, we haven't even started dating. I'm not ready to marry you. Like, calm down. It really just stresses me out. And I get scared to even walk up to the booths because I'm like, I just want to like walk up and have a friendly conversation. And I'll be the first to say, and it's not because I'm trying to be mean, but I've literally walked away from people who won't stop talking about themselves to me, themselves being what they're selling. And I'm like, well, let's put a pin in that and talk later. And yet at no point did we build a relationship other than they may have looked at my necklace and said, oh, she's at this restaurant. Let me tell you how I'm going to help you. And I'm like, I'm not there yet. I don't even know your name. So like, we have to date before we're ready to get married. So building a relationship to me is building that awareness about what will potentially be, hey, I'll take the call so that you can tell me about your technology, your solution, whatever it might be.
Okay, so we just went deep into the what not to do's.
Got
And apparently, if you're looking for a job, just call Tammy.
No, I show pony people around.
But okay, so here's what I'm taking. Again, listen, I'm the nuggets guy. You guys are good at giving tactics here. The nugget I'm walking away from here, if I'm a vendor and I'm going to a show, what you're saying is have my friends introduce me. Is that the takeaway here?
Yes. Have your friends introduce you, or just be a good human. Like put good into the world and like get to know the human first before you go and try and sell me something crazy.
Can
I
I
have
tell
a
you about
philosophy on that is if we're chatting, I just met you. Hi, I'm Tammy, you're Rev. And I say, where are you from? You know, what do you do? Tell me about Rev. And we're chatting, we're talking all about you. If you don't go, well, what about you afterwards? You're a dick.
Yeah.
And so I don't even want to sell to you. I don't want to help you. Right. So it really is truly about building a rapport or a relationship. And so I think at events, the things to do would be like go out, go to the parties, get invited, make yourself visible. I have personally I go to a lot of these events and there's a lot of men. So I've been wearing a lot of pink so that I stand out. And I've decided it's going to be my signature color, mostly because it's the one I look best in. But so you'll pretty much find me in pink all the time. So find the things that work for you, like look your best, feel your best, and get out there and meet people.
I don't like to stand out in a crowd.
Who is it? Who is it?
The guy in the QR code shirt. I think the tip that I would give to vendors who are trying to get more awareness at a show is don't wait for the show to start.
Right.
And if all you did was show up and throw up, like you got nowhere. So there's got to be some email, there's got to be some social, there's got to be some follow-up. And then I would take the principles of what you said and I would apply it to those communication channels, which is be nice.
Yeah.
Be friendly, be welcoming. And if you're just going to literally throw up, like, no, I say this all the time. People buy from people, they don't buy from companies. So if you're not a person first, and especially like in this business, it's totally relationships. It's all trust. Who do I know? What does it do? How does it work?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some other show tips. We did this last year at Whirl where we gave people some actual show tips on how to, sort of better network. And one of the things, principles that I like to teach is essentially give first, right? So if I give the same way that if I'm asking about you, I'm giving first, it's natural for you as a decent person to give back. So little things like I, for example, keep a list of industry events. So when I meet people and they're new to the industry and they're curious about events, I say, I have this spreadsheet. Would you like me to send it to you? And that shortcuts them to getting access to what all these shows are and learning about the industry. And they're super grateful. And it costs me nothing. So that's one of my little tricks. Things that other people can do like that are great and really helpful.
Can I tell you how I met my absolute favorite rock star of all time? Because it's the dovetail into this story. You're both like, Rev, it's your show. You can do whatever you want. Here's how I met Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, I know this one.
I was at a heavy metal show in LA. It was a private event. I happened to be there because we were both trying to support this band. We'll get in that story later. But I happened to have a bag of Pixie Sticks with me. And I'm obsessed still to this day with Weird Al. I think he's amazing. And I walked up and I go, hey, you're Weird Al. And he goes, hey, you're some random guy. I was like, hey. He's been approached before. I was like, do you like Pixie Sticks? And he goes, oh my God, I love sugar. Like he was totally like the Weird Al is Weird Al. And I was like, cool, do you want some? He goes, yeah. And I pull out like a bag of Pixie Sticks and Weird Al sat and I sat and ate Pixie Sticks and talked about candy. I totally wanted to do like I totally want to be like, oh, you're like so cool. And like, this is my favorite album. But like, we just talked about candy. And like, I don't know that he'd remember that today, but I have to believe that somewhere in the back of his subconscious, he'd be like, oh, I remember that. So
that's awesome. Also pure sugar in a Pixie Stick.
Pure sugar. You could walk around with gum. You could walk around with mints. You could have spreadsheets of where to go with shows. You could have a really cool blog that people could follow. But yeah, it'd be helpful. Amen. All right. Well, this is why I wanted you both in the show. You got nuggets. But what I also want to talk about is your show. So tell me about Byte-Sized and Bossy. What is it? Why does it exist? Why do we need it?
Well, It exists because Tammy and one of our other hosts, Chrissy Olette, were sitting around talking. And I told Tammy the other day, I couldn't even remember exactly where we were when it happened. Do you?
Uh-huh.
Where were we?
You were in Atlanta. You and I had a few cocktails. And
what are you talking about? I don't drink.
Me neither. So we were doing our
low-calorie seltzer
coffee this morning. It's 7 a.m. here. We were in Atlanta and we were riffing off of each other, and we had Chrissy in stitches, and she said, "You two are hilarious. Y'all should have a podcast."
Yes. And so we started talking about it, and we realized, we were like, who leads podcasts as women? And there are very few, if any, out there, like very few. And we're seeing more pop up. And we said, well, let's do it. Like, I've been a guest on a lot of podcasts, but I'd never even thought about hosting our own. And we said, well, what would it be? And we started brain dumping on what that would look like. And one thing that we really wanted to have happen was lifting women up in our industry, just lifting up their stories, lifting up a comfortable place to talk about their stories, but not just their career and feel like they can't talk about their family, their dating life, their dog, whatever it might be. Like, bring it to the table and let's talk about it, because it doesn't happen in our space. It just doesn't. So we created Byte-Sized and Bossy to lift women up in our space, to tell their stories from all walks of life, and to feel comfortable telling their stories in a space where we just are authentically ourselves. And there's nothing that we're hoping to, like, we're not sitting here going, I have to tell you about something I'm doing. We're saying, like, tell us your story and let's have a conversation and let people listen to it.
Yeah. And to sort of iterate that, I mean, there's this really great thing happening this year at RLC that your group Branded is putting on. I think it's called Influencer Alley, and it's all dudes. It literally proves the point.
There's definitely one female there.
Who?
Allie Haskell.
Oh, is she on the influencer list?
She's doing
podcasting.
She's helping Jeremy with his show, which it's his show, but Allie is definitely a part of it.
Well, fair enough, but there is nobody that has a show that is a woman that is in that list of people, and there's like 5 of them. But like Lisa Miller has a good podcast. Who else, Erin, in this space has that are women that have some good ones?
Well, Satine with Women in Restaurant Leadership runs that podcast as well. But we're starting to see them. And I think if you're a woman and you're thinking, hey, I thought about hosting my own podcast, go for it.
Because no.
Yes, because we're not here to say that we can't all fit at the table. We always say we're going to make the table bigger. Come on, bring it. Or, better yet, come be a guest on our podcast. And we've had amazing guests. We've had the CEO, Heather, from Taco John's. We've had the CEO, Shannon, from Habit Burger. And not only learning about their career is unbelievable, but hearing their personal stories and hearing them come down from what is like the corporate board speak, but also be able to turn around and go, here's how, if you as a woman want to get a seat on a board, what that looks like, is really, really inspirational and fun to talk about. And then sometimes it's just like, how do you look this great when you show up every day? And what secrets can you share with the audience of women listening so that we can all look as good as these guests? Alice Crowder was recently on. She's the CMO of Crispy Crunchy Chicken, which has 3,200 locations, best kept secret, delicious chicken, and unbelievable. Lindsay Patel from Mod Pizza. We have amazing women in this space, but we don't hear their stories. And one of the people we had on that runs conferences, we said, why aren't there more women on panels? And she said, because they don't raise their hand. And I about fainted. That's insane. Like, raise your hand, women. Like, if you have a story to tell. But instead, what I hear is, and nothing against my male allies and our guys, they're excited to raise their hand. The moment we say, like Tammy and Chrissy say, we have a podcast, we have guys out of the woodwork. They're like, can I be on your podcast? And I was like, whoa.
Every dude we know is like, can we be on the podcast? And I tell them they have to have a vagina or wear a skirt. So,
oh my God.
I expect full makeup and a skirt if you want to be on.
When I tell a woman about our podcast, they go, oh, that's cool, I'll listen. And I'm like, raise your hand, say you want to be on too. And that's been really exciting. And we knew this was going to become big within 2 weeks of launching. We had PR companies reaching out saying, how do we get our execs on? And we had sponsorship companies reaching out being like, what's your sponsorship deck look like? Which literally made me go, what is our sponsorship deck look like? And then we built it from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have it now.
And just like for those people out there that might be listening that are interested in sponsoring, we're really only looking to cover the cost of our producer. We're not trying to get rich, but we want to pay the people that work for us because we can't do it ourselves. So that's really super important to us.
For sponsorships of this show, I'm just trying to feed Dead Rev. He's very hungry. Let me ask you this question. And I mean, I'm coming from like a really earnest place. Okay. Mm-hmm. I try to live my life without seeing any sort of difference in people. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what language you speak, what's in your pants or what you believe. I don't care. Like I try to maintain that all the time. Yeah. And so I think there's probably some people that are like, well, why do we need to pump up women? Why can't we pump up just good people? Or why can't we pump up minorities? Or why can't we pump up like, but like, so what, but I know, but literally like, why is the woman?
It's a fair question. Important? So there's a lot, and you can read, there's a ton of books on this, like unconscious bias, right? Unconscious bias is where we don't even realize it's happening until it happens. And if you're not even clued into it, you don't understand the psychology that people grew up with, right? So somebody might say, well, that was my dad's generation, but it's still happening. Now it's just unconscious, right? When you look around the room, and we're getting better, we are. But what we see with all minorities is that first, and inclusivity, there has to be something that kind of spawns that need for like, hey, let's call attention to it, whether it's lifting up women in our industry, whether it's women in food service forum, like whatever it might be, like let's call attention to it first. And then eventually we shouldn't need it. I sat on a panel last year for women in marketing, and they said, where do you want this conversation about women in marketing to be 5, 6, 10 years from now? And I said, I don't want to have this conversation anymore. That's where I want it to be. I want to be in a space where I look around the table or the room and I feel like I can identify with someone. And that's the same reason I don't have a lot of older female mentors, not because I don't want them, but because they had to acclimate to be a man or have the energy of a man to sit at the table. I'm going to bring my authentic self to the table. My authentic self is all over the place and fun and exciting. And like you said, Rev, like it's different than I'm not going to show up in a black suit, sit at that table to speak just like the man. That's not who I am. That's why it doesn't connect with me. Meanwhile, my daughters, they don't understand why we need this either, right? It is very much a place and time where we're at. And hopefully in a few years, we start going, we don't need it. We can lift up something else. We can call attention to something else. But right now, we do still need it, unfortunately, in our industry.
Yeah, I mean, look around, like look at the conferences. Unless you are at MEG, which is coming up next month, and I highly encourage all you marketers to go. I got this hat there last year.
I got a signed table yesterday. I'm in charge of new restaurant openings.
Oh, that's awesome. I might know about some cool stuff that's happening there this year. And so I actually even have a discount code to help people. Can I say it on here?
Yeah.
It's Tammy.
There you go. By the way, and if you're a marketer and you really want
creative discount code.
Yeah, amen. Listen, if you were a marketer and you want to upload, you should also go to the restaurant marketing workshop, which I'm keynoting, and the discount code for that is Ciencio. So there you go.
That's harder to spell, though.
I don't have any discount codes, but I'll be
We'll get you one.
Right. So Rev, I think though
I believe in equality and discount codes. Everybody can have one.
Everybody can have one. Yeah, use my code because I really want to show these guys some love. MEG was the first trade show that I ever got to go to.
Oh, wow.
And as a restaurant marketer when I was on the other side of the table, and my CEO insisted that I go. And it was the best way for me to meet peers. And I am still friends with the people that I met at the first MEG. And I even, the little, what's the handshake?
Oh, I actually don't know. I guess I'm not part of this.
E and then G. Where's Clay Dover? He does it best. It's MEG.
I know the pentagram. I can do devils.
I probably look completely deformed, but yeah, I think that there's still a need for these things because essentially there isn't equality. I know there's a trend nationally to sort of get rid of these, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, but that's to me an even more of a reason why we need to be doing this at this time. And truly, there just isn't, like when you look up and say, I'm looking for people like me, it is a struggle when your bosses expect you to clean the table after a meeting just because you have breasts. there's a lot that's left to be done in this industry, Rev.
I gotta listen. You guys know me. I'm a supporter, right? I'm a believer. I'm a supporter. I'm an ally. And if anybody's ever at a show and you need a friend, like just find me.
He's really tall and can help protect you from creeps.
And I wear these really ugly shirts.
And
anyway,
it's easy to find.
When I see vendors, okay, companies, not people, propping up like this is we're celebrating Women Month, or here's this best women in the industry, and blah blah blah. I honestly recoil. Okay. Because it feels to me like you're trying to position yourself. You're not and then am I just being a jerk? Is my filter too high?
No.
If I'm a person or I work at a vendor or brand and I want to support women, is that the right way to do it? Is there a better way?
No. So I'm going to rant on this, and I don't want to call any specific people out, but there are definitely some vendors in this industry who are trying to capitalize on being pro-female, and it does not feel authentic. And when you're sort of naming top people in an industry, have some qualifications. I think Mertech actually does a great job with their female awards that they give out every year. Fortunately, they give them out usually on Wednesday morning when everybody is hungover and headed home. So you're standing up there to a nearly empty room accepting your award like I did last year. Did you guys even know that? That's
hey, you.
But they actually have a nomination process. They have a committee. It is not just a popularity contest. And I think those things where it's just put my name on the list. I want to be included. And then you start to look at the list of people that make these lists. And it's conveniently all the people that the brand wants to, or the vendor wants to sell to. That doesn't feel good. And that does make me recoil also. So I will say I've had friends ask me to nominate them, and I do it. Because I'm doing it for a friend. They want to be part of it. Great. It doesn't feel great to me.
It matters why you win the award, right? It's the same where I've won plenty of best female in leadership, and people are like, are you super excited? I said, yes. And someday I'm not just going to be the best female leader. I'm going to be the best leader. I can't wait for that day. But until then, we're calling attention to it, which I give props to, and that's exciting. I also think when you celebrate Women's History Month, Black History Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, if your company doesn't authentically support them throughout the year, then it feels fake, right? It's when you have a company that already has a lot of initiatives and they put their money where their mouth is, and they're not just. I really struggle when restaurants decide to do something for charity and they, instead of them giving back, they go to their customers and say, do you want to round up for charity? And I'm like, well, what did you do? What are you doing too? Other than putting that in place and asking for my money.
Facilitating that, I disagree. They're facilitating that opportunity.
I like that, but they need to be supporting it somehow internally as well.
Usually are, and that takes time and effort.
Listen, Handcraft Burgers and Brew, we do a burger of the month every single month. And for 3.5 years now, every single burger has aligned itself to a children's charity.
But that's
hold on. I didn't get to make my point. Okay. We spend a significant amount of energy creating those burgers, putting them on the menu, doing the marketing, do all that stuff. It's 5% of our sales. Okay. Right. If I was looking at a P&L, I would stop doing that. Okay. So we spend a lot of time and effort to bring awareness and let people know that these things are important to us. So I will push back there.
But I'm saying that's different. That is very different than I show up and they're like, do you want to, my bill's $5.98, and they're like, do you want to round up 2 cents for the Ronald McDonald House? Which I love the Ronald McDonald House, and sure I do. But I want to know how you're supporting as a company Ronald McDonald House too.
Heard. All right, guys, this is a 30-minute show where we have 1 minute left, and honestly, I'm sitting here and I actually was like, should I make this the first episode we go over? But no, I'm going to stick. I'm going to stick to my rules. This show, honestly, this conversation is endless, and if anything, I appreciate the both of you helping me sort of think through this. Any advice? We're getting heavy into trade show season. Any last minute advice for literally anybody?
Go to Meg.
My last minute advice would be, I walk into every conference feeling like no one's going to like me. And then I'm like, oh, I really love it. But if you're feeling like that too, or if you're feeling like you're secluded or in a corner, raise your hand, reach out to Tammy, myself, Chrissy, whoever, our team, Rev, and say, hey, I'm going to be at this conference. Do you want to hang out? And I always say, come with me. We're going over here now. We're going to go do that now. I'm a more the merrier type person, but don't feel like, oh, I didn't really connect with anyone or see anyone.
Because
reach out.
Come up to me is usually like they're waiting for it to happen. So truly, if you are going to a show alone, to Erin's point, ask a friend who's been before to introduce you some people. People do this to me for almost every show. Hey, I've got somebody on my team who's going and doesn't know anybody. Will you cart them around? And that is literally what I do to help them meet people once they find a buddy and they're good, and I can move on to the next thing.
Thank you both. If the only thing you're bringing to a show is your solution, you should just stay home.
Ooh.
Amen. All right. Thank you guys for joining us today. Please jam the subscribe button on YouTube, Spotify,